Today I wanted to do a quick comparison video of the Otterbox Commuter line for the iPhone 6, which we have on the left here in black, versus the Otterbox Symmetry line for the iPhone 6, which we have in what Otterbox is referring to as Blueprint. Now before we get into those cases, I wanted to take a look at this case, which is where I believe Otterbox got a lot of the design from for the Symmetry series, and this is the Otterbox Reflex for the 5S. They made these for the 4 and 4S as well, and as you see, it just slides apart like this. That's probably the one downside to this case, is that sometimes it can slide apart a little too easily, and as it slides off, it scratches the sides of the aluminum here on the iPhone 5S, which is why you saw that I have tape on mine. But just looking around the case, it's got the cutouts for the camera and the flash there, as well as the volume. On the bottom it has one big open cutout, which is really a design flaw. It makes this top piece here real fragile. And then all the buttons on the case are work really well, really have good feedback, aren't too hard to press, and I've been overall real happy with it. Definitely would have bought this case for the iPhone 6 had they made it. So first off, we'll take a look here at the Commuter Series. You'll notice on the back you've got a cutout for the Apple logo as well as for the camera and flash. On the side you've got your cutout for the mute switch as well as buttons for the volume. And then working over to the other side you have a button for the power. Then across the bottom you've got individual cutouts for the speaker, the power, and the headphone jack. And you'll notice the power here as well as the headphone jack have these rubber flaps from the inner piece that cover that up to protect debris from getting in. And on the inside here we just have a real flexible rubber lining. This goes over the phone before you snap it into the case to add some extra shock absorption and protection there. And then on the outside you have this hard polycarbonate shell that the case kind of sets inside of. So now we'll take a look at the Symmetry series. Starting on the side you have the power button, and then on the back you have the cutout for the camera and the flash. On the other side you have the cutout for the mute switch and the volume buttons, and then across the bottom you have the 3 cutouts, same as the Commuter series. This one does not have the rubber flaps that the Commuter series did to get in the way. On the inside you have still kind of a soft rubber shell. It's all one piece, and on this one you've got this weave for shock absorption, which should help to protect the phone a lot. So to insert the iPhone 6 into the Commuter case, first you just stick it inside of the rubber shell first, make sure that's on well, and then you insert the rubber shell into the polycarbonate case here with the ports in down first, and then just kind of work your way around the case. If you have any issues with it not going in well, just kind of keep working at it till it all snaps in place. All in all, it's pretty easy to put on and goes on pretty snug. As you can see here on the buttons, we've got plenty of good feedback on the buttons. Those work well, don't have any issues with those whatsoever. Working away on the back, we have the cutout for the Apple logo as well as the cutout for the camera and flash. Plenty of room there. People complained about the camera sticking out on the phone. I actually think it looks pretty good once it's in this case, and kind of gives it that industrial look with the black cutout there surrounding it. Working our way around to the bottom of the phone, we have these rubber flaps that protect your headphone jack as well as the lightning connector there. In my opinion, these just get in the way. I'm not using my phone in the dirty enough environment to need these, but that being said, they are there and are helpful. The other kind of issue here with the lip of the case is I had issues using the Touch ID. Just not that it ever caused any problems, but just didn't like the way it felt when I laid my thumb on the phone, being able to feel that extra lip there of the case kind of getting in the way. That being said, it's certainly not a deal breaker though, and I would say the biggest disappointment in this case is the rubber inner lining, as you can see, can get stretched out, particularly here by the volume buttons. It has a tendency to stretch out, and I've only had this case for a couple of days and I've already noticed that it is starting to give more than it did when I first got it. And just all around the phone here on the bottom, particularly on the ports that get covered with the flaps as well, that would definitely be an issue there. So again, here by the volume buttons is certainly the biggest part. You can already see it starting to stick out some there. So all in all, a really solid case, but definitely could not recommend it for that reason. So now we'll take a look at the Symmetry case for the iPhone 6, and it inserts into the case very similar, and as you can see, you just work the phone into the case around. This one definitely fits more snug into the case, but in my opinion that's a positive. I'm definitely not worried about this phone falling out after a big drop or a big spill. So the volume buttons are still very easy to press, as well as the mute switch here is easy to access. Same goes for the power button as well. Really easy to press there and have no issues, as is sometimes common on Otterbox and other tough cases like this. Looking at the bottom, you see the speaker output here is very tight around that, whereas the lightning connector, you have a little bit larger cutout, and then the headphone jack an even larger cutout. So you can definitely use some of the larger headphone adapters with this case. Certainly would not be a problem there. For the camera cutout, again, you've got the black surrounding the camera, which is going to help with the flash. And also, again, just looks really nice, even though the camera lens does stick out there on this phone. For the Touch ID, I don't really have any issues with this one at all. It doesn't have the same type of lip around the edge of the case. It's more of a gradual lip, so I really didn't run into issues there. As for the problem that I pointed out with the Commuter Series, you can definitely still stretch the rubber portion of this case, but it definitely does not have the issues that the Commuter Series had. Here at the bottom, you notice it does give around the ports, but every time I squeeze this, squish this, it's going right back into place as you would expect, and I don't expect this case to have issues like the Commuter Series typically has. All in all, I really like the way this case feels in the hand. The back of the case is contoured and rounded, whereas the front is flat. That's a little different than the Commuter Series, and I like the way it feels better than I do the Commuter Series. The back of the phone has a little slicker of a finish though, and I noticed on some of the reviews on Amazon and other places, people mention this, how the phone kind of spins around as you see here on the counter, but laying it down on the face, you don't have that issue because of the rubber outline going around the edge of the case. So if you're going to set this phone down on a slick surface, I would recommend doing it face down. Sliding it down on the back will cause it to slide around because of this smooth finish that's on the back. So I don't think you'll have any issues setting it down on the front. There is this rubber lip that goes all the way around the edge, and that does raise up just a little bit and protect the screen from hitting anything when you lay it face down. So that's how I typically lay mine on my desk or other places when I'm laying it down, is laying it face down, and it will provide a little bit more grip there so that it doesn't slide around. So this has been a quick look, a comparison between the Otterbox Commuter Series, which we have on the left here for the iPhone 6 in black, versus the Otterbox Symmetry Series for the iPhone 6, which Otterbox is referring to this particular design as Blueprint. So as you've probably already guessed, between the two, my pick is going to be for the Otterbox Symmetry Series. The case just really feels great in your hand because of the contoured back that I mentioned earlier and the flat front. I just really like the way it feels compared to the Commuter Series. Also, I feel like this one-piece design is much better than the two-piece design of the Commuter Series. I never have like the loose inner rubber lining of those, and this one-piece design fits really, really well on the phone. Gives a lot of good protection without adding a lot of bulk. And also I like the color choices that you get with the Symmetry Series for the 5S as well as the 6 compared to the Commuter Series. So my vote between the two is definitely for the Otterbox Symmetry Series. Thanks for watching.